Commissioner Warren, before we get into the coalition that you announced this evening, I would be remiss if I didn't get your thoughts and feelings on what's happening in Minnesota, a place where you spent 15 plus years raising children, being a successful executive. What are the thoughts that are running through your mind after the tragic death at the hands of police officers of Mr. Floyd?
I mean, the thoughts are, I have mixed emotions. I mean, sadness, some anger, disappointment, but really a renewed spirit of doing everything that I can and that we can in the Big Ten to collectively make sure that this never happens again. And everything know him is that he had a great heart. And I just want to make sure that his life was not lived in vain, that we do everything we possibly can to make sure this never happens again. And I say this honestly, we were fortunate that someone filmed this, because if they had not filmed it, then people probably wouldn't have believed it, and it would have been chalked up to another one of these, resisting arrest. And so now I think we have a responsibility, me personally, my family, the Big Ten family, to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to ensure that this police brutality and the relationships between people of color, Black men, and law enforcement individuals, it has to get better. And we're at a point right now, I think there are a lot of things in society, systemic issues involving racism and hatred that we've decided to ignore over the years. But now this is at the forefront, and we have to do something about it.
Was this coalition in the works before this tragedy?
Race relations is always in the works with me, but no, this really came to me over the last couple of days. It was actually a week ago today that this horrific killing existed, that we got a chance to see with our own eyes. And so for this last week of a lot of just praying and fasting and meditating and just my soul, I couldn't get it to calm down. It was troubled all week, and that's not how I am. And just woke up really 2 days ago and said, enough of the letter writing, enough of the statements, enough of the social media posts. All those things are important, but there's two things that we have to do. One, we need to form this coalition against anti-racism and anti-hate. We need to provide our student athletes with the love and support and encouragement that they need to be the best that they can. We need to come together as with our student athletes, our coaches, our chancellors, our presidents, our athletic directors, our senior women administrators, our faculty athletic reps, and just people from the Big Ten community to make some tangible changes. It's one thing for us to talk about different things, but create tangible change. And then on top of that, my wife and I have been in deep prayer the last couple of days, and we said, it's even one thing for us to form a coalition and create a platform for change, but then we need to do something. And so that's why we made the gift, and we'll make the gift to the National Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights, because it's these organizations that are handling these type of cases, but they need resources. And so it'll be the first of many gifts that we will make. And Kristen Clark, who's the president and executive director there, is doing unbelievable work. And so we look forward to building a relationship to combating race issues, to combating hate issues and voter registration. But Howard, we're in a position right now where we are in our country. We're in a state of disaster. And we can tell our kids what they need to do. But it's one thing, kids do not, as you know, young people don't go by what you tell them, they go by what you're doing. And so it's time for us to basically put our actions into action and put our words into action, and to make this world a better place.
You brought up your children that you're raising. What do you tell them in a situation like this?
It's been hard because, we love Minnesota. We spent 15 years there. Minnesota was a place for all of us that we were able to recognize a lot of our dreams. And when we moved to Minnesota, I had just turned 40 years old with 2 kids, a a third grader and a first grader, and a lot of dreams and aspirations, and to be able to enjoy some of those dreams and aspirations, and to see our kids. I mean, they were educated here, as I said, through elementary school, through junior high to high school, and to be able to see them to grow, and they have friends here in Minnesota, and what I think I've told them is to recognize the fact that you are Black. Recognize that, don't run from it, embrace it, which they do embrace it, and that don't paint everyone with the same brush. They're a lot of good people. We have unbelievable friends in Minnesota, are close in the business community, but just personal friends. And it's a lot of great people that live in Minnesota. But these issues of racism and hate are all around the country, and they're in various aspects that we deal with. They're in sports, it's in entertainment, it's in the banking industry, it's on Wall Street, it's in our education communities. And I think, and I strongly believe that this has afforded us an opportunity. So what I do for my kids every day is I pray for them, one, for their safety. And because one of the biggest fear that I have as a Black father with a young and physically strong and aggressive young Black man, my son Powers, who plays football at Mississippi State and is a tight end there, and we've raised both of our kids to be strong, to be outspoken, to have strength. Is that, and I told him recently, I said, Powers, you won't understand probably till you're my age, is that until when we're at home together, until I hear you walk in the house and hear that burglar alarm beep, that I can go to sleep. And even at school, until I get that text message from you at night or talk to you in the morning, I don't sleep. I doze. And that goes for both of my kids. The same thing for my daughter. And they will never understand that, because I am so fearful of that call in the middle of the night to say, your son has been, killed, shot by some police officers. And there have been times that he's been pulled over for allegedly speeding. There was one time that he flew back from Minnesota to Starkville, Mississippi, where he goes to school, and on the way back from the airport to campus got a flat tire and had to call the tow truck company. He's on the side of the road in Mississippi, and the tow truck person pulled up, and they got into an argument because the guy was just literally throwing his car on it. And those are things I could hear, that altercation, and I was saying, Lord, please. And I was fearful that I was going to hear some gunshots. So I say that to say is that what we have to do as a people, that is time. And we owe our children, we owe the future generations, we owe them a better life for when they grow up. And we need to do everything we possibly can. I'm honored to serve the Big Ten Conference already. Just within the last couple hours of announcing this, the number of people who have reached out to me, literally from around the country, who have offered their support, reiterates to my soul and spirit that we're doing the right thing in the Big Ten Conference, and I'm looking forward to coming together and create some tangible change in regards to racism and hate.
When you talk about the coalition, you're also inviting anyone that wants to come in and help. What will the makeup of this coalition be?
I look at it that it'll be a combination. We have some student athletes, we'll have coaches, we'll have some administrators, athletic directors, chancellors, and presidents. And I want to hear. One of the first things I want to do is to listen to them, as far as what's on your mind. I think our young people, just by turning on television, they're talking to us right now. But I really want to hear what we can do, what's important, what's bothering them, and provide them with the platform and the security to know that they have a safe place in the Big Ten. And we need to talk through these issues. But what I want to have happen is that for us to come up with some tangible steps that we're going to take to help eradicate racism and hate. We got to come up with some tangible steps, and we have an opportunity to do this. So this is not something that we're doing for a PR stunt. It's time. It's time for us to do it. And I look forward to the day that we look back at the early part of June of 2020, that we can say that was the day that it all changed in a positive direction. Ironically, tomorrow is the 1-year anniversary that I got offered the job. It was a year ago. And if you would have told me this time last year, and then starting as commissioner-elect in September, but formally starting in January, to really be only 5 months in the job and to be dealing with name, image, and likeness and COVID-19 and canceling the men's basketball tournament, then now all this civil unrest, I would not have believed you. But one thing about that I'm proud of as far as my DNA is that I'm one of those folks, I don't start fights, but when they start, I make sure that I give every ounce of energy that I can to make sure it ends in the proper fashion. And we're fighting for our country. We're fighting for our young people. We're fighting against racism. We're fighting against hate. And this is a time as a country, this is bigger than all of us, that we have an opportunity to come together to look back and create a legacy. And I'm hopeful that regardless of how many years I've spent at the Big Ten, regardless of how many years I have on the face of this earth, regardless of what I do in the rest of my career, that I'm hopeful that the formation of this anti-racism and anti-hate coalition will be the thing in my career that people look to and say, that's what we're most proud of that you did. And so we have a unique opportunity.
As you start to move forward with that, what now, though, is the message to our young student athletes that they need to understand right now from the commissioner's office, and what they need to be getting from their head coaches, the presidents of their university? What should they be expecting and hearing right now?
Is hearing that we love you, we respect you, we embrace you, we appreciate you, and we want you to have a platform to express your feelings. And we understand the pain that you're going through, but we want to do what we said we promised to do when we recruited them and showed up on our campuses, that we would be the Big Ten, that we would take care of them in a manner, and we want to provide the platform for them to make a change and feel good about it, about what they're doing on a daily basis. And so coming to college is bigger than just getting an education and participating in sports. We need to help them to graduate as holistic individuals, to be able to understand. And that's why we formed our mental health and wellness cabinet, to understand those issues. We're going to roll out a voter registration program, financial wellness. We have a responsibility in our position in the Big Ten to make sure that we come together collaboratively and in a collective manner to make sure that we do everything we possibly can to help prepare our student athletes. They're our future leaders, and we can do better, and we will do better. And so I look forward to the opportunity for us to continually set the stage for really the impact of what college athletics can have on the world, and that we make the world a better place.
Well, Commissioner, I really appreciate your time sitting down with us. And as you were telling your stories about powers, I'm just so tired of having to have that conversation with the young Black men and young Black women in our community. And then they go off to a college where so many people don't look like them, and it's still difficult. And I want them to have a safe haven and be able to have a place where they can feel comfortable with who they are, and be able and understand that they're going to be supported. And I think we have obviously some of the greatest universities in all of the world in our conference. And with your leadership and with the leadership of the presidents, I truly hope we can continue to get that tangible evidence of change with racism in our world.
I have no doubt that we will. And that's what makes the Big Ten special. That's why I made the decision a year ago tomorrow to come and be the commissioner of the Big Ten, because I knew it would be challenging, but I knew that it would allow us to come together as a conference, to be different, to work hard, to deal with these issues, and to really make our minds up that we're going to make the world a better place. And if there was ever a time that we needed leadership, is now, because what's happened lately is our leaders are really our social influencers, is the people who are influencers. They're not leaders, and they have a role in society. But I want all of our leaders in the Big Ten to step up, for us to join hands and march forward, and to make sure that we do things the right way and make this world a better place. And I'm confident with the talent, the intelligence, the toughness, the compassion, the empathy that we have collectively, from student athletes to athletic directors to our coaches, to our chancellors and presidents, to you, our friends at the Big Ten Network, to our conference office, that this will be an inflection point in all of our lives, that we'll come together and look back on this time to say, God bless George Floyd and his life, and we're going to fix this.